If you're a woman in her 30s and 40s, eating like a bird, working out really hard, and the scale is still not moving or ticking up, this episode is for you. Listen in. You wake up every day, you track every single bite, you skip breakfast, have coffee instead, and you've been doing this for years because your body got used to not eating a lot, so you don't really have an appetite. By noon, you've had 2 cups of coffee, zero food. When you do eat, your nutrition is clean for the most part. You don't experience binging at night, but your body is still refusing to change. In fact, you try to eat less and less to try and get some kind of a result. So your immediate instinct is to push harder, you increase cardio, and you eat less food, and the cycle goes on. So you're running your metabolism straight into a brick wall, and it's not your fault. Nobody told you that the rules changed. But if you keep running this old playbook, you're going to downregulate your thyroid, your hormones are going to go out of whack, you're going to continue to burn off muscle, and you're going to continue to store fat. I'm LaToya Loren Price. I'm a board certified nurse practitioner, competitive bodybuilder, and physique coach. And last episode, we discussed the strategy shifts needed for traditional body recomposition. But I did promise you the rescue plan for the woman that is stuck and starving. This is the woman whose system is too suppressed to even start a traditional diet. This is it. We're breaking down the exact strategy shifts that you need to make in your nutrition, in your lifestyle, and in your training to rescue your metabolism. By the end, you'll know exactly why eating more food is the only path to get your body to drop weight safely again. Stay until the end because I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that you need to wake up your metabolism and shift your body out of survival mode. So here's the clinical reality. Your body does not give a shit about your aesthetic goals. It cares about surviving. So when you combine perimenopause, chronic undereating, excessive cardio, chasing after children, back-to-back calls, content sprints, your body reads that as an immediate threat. And we already know this. When you were younger and in a normal hormonal climate, your body could tolerate extreme deficits and drop weight. However, this is not the case when you're in your late 30s and 40s, not when perimenopause enters the picture and all 3 hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, are erratic. We already know that in perimenopause, you have brain hypometabolism. So your brain is not able to metabolize glucose very effectively, causing brain fog. So when you add on to that chronic underfueling, your brain doesn't read, hey, this is a diet. It reads it as extreme famine. So to keep you alive, there is a hormonal defense cascade that takes place and changes everything. So you get metabolic adaptation. What does that mean? Your metabolic rate is reduced so it matches the fuel that you're actually giving it. So essentially, if you're eating less, you're burning less at rest. You also burn muscle. Muscle is metabolically expensive. So if you're not giving your body enough protein and calories to maintain it, your body starts to burn muscle for fuel. And less muscle means slower metabolism. Then you get increased fat storage, particularly in your abdominal area. So that's that little fupa that we be talking about all the time. So when you are chronically under eating, your cortisol is elevated and it tends to store fat in your midsection, in particular visceral fat. And we know that visceral fat is the worst kind of fat that you can have for health reasons. And it causes appetite suppression. So when you're chronically under eating, your body learns to stop asking you for more food because it knows that it's not going to get it. And so when you wake up in the morning and you don't want to eat, that's not a good sign. That's a sign that your system has downregulated. So this is not a discipline problem. This is a fueling problem. You can't run a fat loss phase until you repair your metabolism first. And counterintuitively, when you start this healing phase, you will be shocked by the changes you see in your body. You will drop chronic inflammation, and the scale may even go down while you're increasing your food. But I'm going to explain the exact science behind this. So let's talk nutrition strategy. This rescue plan is for the woman who has no appetite in the morning. She has 20, 30 plus pounds that she needs to lose. She has no energy and you can see it on camera, and sleep is trash. and she's barely eating anything, maybe one meal a day. So what I like to do is implement a reverse dieting protocol. So this is a systematic way of slowly increasing your calories over weeks to potentially months, depending on your starting point. We determine what your total daily energy expenditure is, or TDEE. They have calculators online. You can go on there and plug in your information to figure out what yours is. But your protein is going to be 1 gram per pound of goal body weight in this case. Now, listen carefully. In the last episode for body recomposition, I said the goal for your protein was 1 gram per pound of current body weight. That's because they are already at or near their goal weight. Now, for the underfueled woman who is typically overweight, she's got 15, 20 plus pounds to lose, it only makes sense that you're going to make your macros based off of your goal body weight, not current body weight. If you weigh 190 pounds, 200 pounds, you're not eating 190 grams or 200 grams of protein. That's excessive. So say you weigh 160 pounds and your goal body weight is 130, then you're going to eat 130 grams of protein daily. And this is going to stimulate your thyroid and turn it back on. And that's exactly what we need to upregulate your metabolism again. So your goal is to have 3 protein forward meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner to start. Now, if you don't have an appetite, I know that that's very difficult. So I always tell people, drink your calories. So if you need to have a protein shake to do this, then do so. This is going to get your body out of that survival mode, that fight or flight, and into a fed and recovered one. So let's talk training and lifestyle shifts that you now need to make in order for this reverse diet to work. So 1, cardio. So we're not going to be doing excessive cardio that has your heart rate sky high and has you pouring sweat. We're going to steady state cardio and or daily step counts. Cardio is not the core here. We want to lower stress so that your metabolism can activate. And we're going to go ahead and shift. If you're not already doing this, we're going to focus on strength training anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week if you're not already doing it. This is going to be low volume strength training, all right? We're not going to be doing 8-10 exercises per workout. That's excessive. Again, the goal is to calm our nervous system, get us out of survival mode so that our metabolism feels safe enough to start working properly again. So for the cardio piece, I generally recommend Tier 1, which is a daily step count, like I mentioned before, and you want to aim for anywhere from 7 to 10K steps daily. And then as you progress through your reverse diet, depending on how you're doing, of course, and your biofeedback data, you can start to incorporate the steady state cardio that I mentioned. So I would recommend maybe starting out with 15 to 20 minutes post-workout 2 to 3 times a week. And specifically for your strength training sessions, you want to do up to 3 times a week and have maybe 5 exercises per workout. And for this phase, I typically do full body workouts, not split sessions. So let's talk about why the scale actually drops during this process. So when you've been chronically under eating, under stress, your body becomes inflamed and holds on to a lot of water weight. So the minute you stop punishing yourself in the gym, stop the excessive cardio, and you start eating more food, your body registers safety. And as a result, it drops, your cortisol decreases, and all that water weight that you've been holding onto and that inflammation that you've been holding onto flushes out of your system. And at the same time, your thyroid is told to turn back on and your resting metabolic rate increases. So you begin to burn more while at rest. And your metabolism starts to work more efficiently. with the calories that you are now adding to your body. So instead of storing those calories as body fat because it doesn't know when you're going to feed it again, it starts using it as fuel and actually burning again because you're eating on a regular basis. So ladies, I say all this to say, stop starving yourself and stop being afraid to eat. Eating more is what you actually need in order to get the body that you want. I understand that figuring out how to do all of this, it can be very overwhelming. So I actually created a blueprint. It's called the Underfueling Fix. It's a nutrition framework for women who barely eat and can't figure out why they're not losing weight. And it gives you a step-by-step protocol to follow to change that. So stop guessing, get your shit together, and purchase the Underfueling Fix. It's only $17, and the link is in my description. Now, if you want to skip the DIY process entirely and you want a board certified clinician and certified coach to review your situation, then you need to book the Physique Design Diagnostic. This is a 45-minute strategy session. I review your entire history. We find out where you're leaking energy, why your metabolism has slowed down, and we come up with a fully customized plan. And you leave with a 4-week execution map that you can begin same day. The diagnostic is only $99. And if you do decide to move forward with coaching with me, that fee is applied to your first month. The link is in the show notes. Stop guessing, stop waiting, get your shit together and book. Let's take your body out of emergency mode this week. So you now understand the steps that you need to take to repair your slow metabolism. But knowing the strategies is one thing, and holding it all together during busy weeks is another beast. This is when most women collapse. In the next episode, I'm going to give you the blueprint for holding it all together during your hard weeks so you stop restarting. For now, grab the Underfueling Fix. The link is in my show notes, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.